Bryce Harper and Jose Ramirez aren't all that different. Let's talk about it. What is up, my dudes? We are back again with another video. Today, we're going to be comparing Bryce Harper and Jose Ramirez. And to start, we're not going to reveal who is who just yet. Player 1 has 174 stolen bases, 192 home runs, is a career .279 hitter with a 29% better than league average OPS plus and a 40.3 WAR according to Baseball Reference at barely 30 years old. This player currently makes $20 million in change a year. Player 2 has 122 stolen bases, 285 home runs, is a career .280 hitter with a 42% better than league average OPS plus and a 42.5 Baseball Reference WAR at barely 30 years old as well. This player currently makes $25 million in change a year. Can you guess who is who? You probably can guess by the salary and home runs that player 1 is Jose Ramirez and player 2 is Bryce Harper. Isn't it interesting how close their value as a player actually is in terms of their careers as a whole? You could make the argument that if Harper was on the field more, this wouldn't be quite as close. Although that argument really isn't valid, as Harper has an extra year of MLB experience and 145 more games under his belt. You also have to keep in mind Harper was an everyday regular as soon as he was called up in 2012, whereas Jose Ramirez didn't play in more than 100 games until 2016. They both have the ability to steal bases, although Jose Ramirez definitely has the edge in this department. And they both have the ability to hit for power, with Bryce Harper having the edge in this aspect. Jose Ramirez is only 1 month older than Harper, something I don't think I had thought of before. How about in terms of hardware? Harper has won 2 MVPs so far in his career, while oddly enough never finishing in the top 10 in a year in which he hasn't won. Jose Ramirez has finished 6th in MVP voting once, 3rd in voting twice, and 2nd once. He is definitely on track to finish 10th in voting this year or higher, and I believe he could very well finish top 5. It's a tall task competing with Mike Trout for MVP in the American League, especially in the 2010s, where it felt like he was in the top 3 every year. Ramirez has 3 Silver Sluggers and Harper has 2. I feel that Jose has a very good chance at getting his 4th this year. The crazy part about this comparison is that neither of them is getting paid $30 million or more a year. And yes, you could argue that Harper's injury history might have hurt his average salary, but how do you justify Jose Ramirez getting paid only $20 million? Well, that's Jose Ramirez for you. A team player who was willing to take a hometown discount. And realistically, I put only $20 million in quotes because, of course, that is an unfathomable amount of money to get paid every year to most people. However, when you're a superstar in Major League Baseball, that should currently net you anywhere from $30 to now even $40 million a year. Things have changed in terms of the free agent market, and the demand for young controllable stars has risen dramatically. Now, teams are handing out long-term deals left and right, and you can make the argument that Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, who happen to be in the same free agent class, set the standard for long-term deals. However, the AAV, otherwise known as the average annual value of these contracts, has only escalated from there. 1 month after Manny Machado signed his 10-year, $300 million contract with the Padres, Mike Trout signed a new deal with the Angels that put his AAV at $36 million, at the time the highest in MLB history. Now, $30 million a year seems to be the elite player's salary floor for negotiations. Players will talk themselves up to values such as the $36 million that Garrett Cole got, or the short-term, high-average value contracts that Carlos Correa and Max Scherzer signed. Scherzer set the record that still stands currently in an average of $43 million a year. Bryce Harper in current day doesn't even rank on the top 20 list for highest AAV, yet many including myself believe that when healthy, he's a top 20 player in baseball. I would argue the same for Jose Ramirez. And where is he ranked? 45th, lower than players like Josh Donaldson, Javier Baez, Marcus Semien, and Marcus Stroman. Crazy, isn't it? Bryce Harper, who hit free agency at age 26, signed a 13-year, $330 million contract, which, as I mentioned earlier, averages a little over $25 million a year. Last offseason, the Texas Rangers paid 27-year-old Corey Seager $325 million over 10 years. I am by no means hating on Corey Seager, but a guy who has a checkered past in terms of injuries probably shouldn't command that kind of a deal. Bryce Harper, before signing his deal with the Phillies, had already won an MVP, won Rookie of the Year, won a Silver Slugger, and made 6 different All-Star teams. Seager, to his credit, won Rookie of the Year as well, but only made 2 All-Star teams and only had 3 healthy seasons under his belt, excluding the shortened 2020 season. Those 3 healthy seasons were not consecutively either. While a team like the Rangers seem like they are spending out of control, they do have boundaries, and those boundaries are starting to come into play with players approaching their 30s or already into their 30s, and for good reason. They hardly ever work out. Just ask the Angels. Sorry, Pujols. Jose Ramirez signed a 5-year, $124 million extension at age 29, which equates to almost $25 million a year. However, it was essentially combined with the previous extension that Cleveland signed him to several years prior. The true contract turned into a 7-year, $141 million deal that averages $20 million a year. Ramirez's ex-teammate, Francisco Lindor, was often seen as the better player when both of them played together in Cleveland. He had made 4 All-Star teams in 5 eligible seasons and won 2 Silver Sluggers and 2 Gold Gloves. However, since signing a 10-year, $341 million contract with the Mets after his age 26 season, he has had 1 average and 1 slightly above average offensive season while still contributing a majority of his value on defense. Jose Ramirez, before signing his extension, was a 3-time All-Star, 3-time top finisher in MVP voting, 3-time Silver Slugger, and had 5 healthy seasons under his belt, excluding 2020. These are just 2 of the many examples of other players receiving disproportionate salaries in comparison. You don't have to look far to see other examples of players taking advantage of a sport with no salary cap. In terms of their personality, they couldn't be more different. But in terms of getting paid what they deserve this year and beyond, both of them can relate. Bryce Harper and Jose Ramirez are the faces of their respective franchises and will continue to for the remainder of their contracts and potentially career. And considering that they're both 30 years old, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest to see them both on the same Hall of Fame ballot when both of their careers are said and done. If you guys enjoyed this style of video, make sure to let me know in the comments section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.